Happy lunch hour, guys. All right. Protecting yourself, protecting your information, what gets out there about you, right? Okay. A lot of us know that, practicing OPSEC, doing whatever to keep our digital footprints down. Most of us here on social media using pseudonyms, right? Okay. You don't want all the information being put out to you. You don't post your address. Some guy calls you up on the phone and says, "We just need to verify it's you. Can you give us your date of birth and social security number?" And you go, "F you." Okay. Yeah, maybe not so much. Digital ID is something that the globalists of the world want. Okay. That's the way they can control you. And they sneak it in where you least expect it. Okay. I'm going to give you something that just I found out about today. And if you're in Nebraska, Ruby Red, Nebraska, you might want to pay attention because you're the test subject for this. How many of you know what HIPAA is? Okay, it's your medical, keeps your medical information from being broadcast to the world, okay? The HIPAA privacy rule regulates the use and disclosure of your protected health information to only include covered entities that are healthcare clearinghouses, health insurers, employer-sponsored health plans, and medical providers. That is it, okay? You guys know as well I do, it's difficult to get your own medical records. Unless, of course, you're in Nebraska. Now, I want to give you this real quick. Ruby Red, Nebraska, just so you have an idea of what's going on, and that neither party are our friends when it comes to this globalist agenda. The Nebraska legislature is unicameral, means they have one house of legislature. They don't have a Senate and a House like most states do. They have one. Nebraska has 49 representatives in their legislature. 32 of them are Republican, 16 of them are Democrat, and one is independent. So 2/3 of the Nebraska legislature is Republican. I'll give you this. How many are rhinos? Maybe you'll figure that one out real quick. Okay. In 2020, the Nebraska legislature passed Legislative Bill 1183, okay, which was the Population Health Information Act. And through a bunch of weaving and hiding and everything, they are trying to get everybody's information. They are trying to collect your health information and make a database for it that anybody can use. Now, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, I made the video saying, get a copy of all your health records and have it. Do you know your spouse's kids, neighbors, blood type, whatever? Do you have a list of all your medications you're on, your allergies, anything, okay, that you have, not that's publicly accessible? What Nebraska is trying to do is make this where anybody who has a need can access your medical information. Okay? So what wound up happening was in 2020, the legislature created the HIT, okay, and designated the Nebraska Health Information Initiative to be the state's health exchange. Okay. They later changed their name to Sync Health. Okay. So they're trying to hide things. In 2021, Nebraska passed Legislative Bill 411, requiring universal participation in Sync Health and their statewide information exchange. Okay. So now every medical facility, whether it's a doctor's office, a pharmacy, an emergency room, or whatever, could access your data. Okay. And again, people might say, hey, that's good. That way, if I'm traveling across the state and I get hurt, somebody can find out what's up with me. Okay? And again, HIPAA. Now, so what wound up happening was Sync Health, under its old name of the Nebraska Health Information Initiative, became a member of the CARIN Alliance, CARIN. Okay? And CARIN is a global, multi-sector, nonprofit organization with a huge footprint. Okay? Members like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, AARP, okay, Cigna, CVS Health. Okay. Anybody really have any idea what those companies all have involved alike? They're huge liberal organizations. Do you want Google to have access to your health records? Or Microsoft? How about Amazon? AARP? What need does Google have for my health records, or Microsoft or Amazon? I mean, really, I want to go buy a new pressure cooker, but Amazon knows my health records. Could this have anything to do with the social credit score, maybe? Well, gee, we don't think he needs to have a pressure cooker because, he has this medical condition or that medical condition, and maybe he shouldn't be eating stuff like that. Think about it any way you want, okay? This is all a drive to push people toward a global ID, toward Uncle Sam or Klaus Schwab or whoever having access to all your information. WTF does Google need to know what medications I take? Google's not a pharmacy, okay? Google's not a medical provider. No, they're not. They have no need to know that. No more than does my barber need to know what I take, okay? Simple as that. But this is what a Republican-led legislature in a ruby red state has pushed through. Now, this is just coming to light, and you are having a lot of pushback on this. But this has been going on for a couple of years, and they've slowly slid it through the system, changing names of things, and people don't follow up on what it is and what it all means. Okay? I don't need your medical information. I don't need to go, Joe Smith applied for a job. Me being a recruiter, okay? Let me go see what his medical records are. I can do a Google search and feasibly find out. I don't have a reason to know it. But then again, nor does Google. I don't have access to somebody's hospital records. HIPAA comes into play. Since when, in a federal law that was signed into law back in the 90s by Bill Clinton, okay, as much as I dislike him, okay, the law is the law. But now we're going to start giving away those rights and letting technology companies have our medical information. How many spam calls do you get a day? How many calls do you... Hi, I'm with your insurance company. Mrs. P got one yesterday. Somebody that we think was trying to pretend that they were her insurance company. Because the first thing they asked her was to confirm her date of birth and her social security number. And I said, hell no. I said, you have that information. You don't need to ask me for it. Could it have been fraudulent? Yeah. How difficult is it for a scammer to go through your mailbox and say, oh, look, Allstate, important health insurance enclosed, or something, or life insurance, and now they know. Gee, we'll call up that person and pretend we're with Allstate and their life insurance. Hey, can you confirm your social security number? And now we've stolen your ID. Okay? And yet you have laws like this that are trying to give it to people, Google, Amazon, Microsoft. I'm sorry, do not tell me how they have the utmost security that Nobody can hack them. Right. Okay. How many stories have we seen lately about companies? I mean, CVS got hacked. Okay. Amazon's got hacked. YouTube's been hacked. We all know of those stories. But now, if the medical records are there and people can find out your medical history, this is just the beginning. I can't go and find your driving record, but they want to find your medical history. Criminal records, sure, if you have payments and things like that, you can find it. Medical, no. You're allowed to keep that private. But Nebraska is the first step in making this all practically public information, or at least to the entities that they want to have it. And if anybody thinks that the globalist government is not going to be one of those approved entities, you're fooling yourself. They want to be able to limit what you're allowed to do based on any information you have. You know, we've talked about this before. Gee, I'm sorry, Mr. Jones, you can't buy any more than 2 apples this week. You've already reached your quota. Gee, Mr. Jones, I'm sorry, you can't buy that 6-pack of beer because your medical records say that you are at risk of, I don't know, cirrhosis or something like that. We're not going to allow you to buy that. It's kind of like the 23andMe DNA thing. Why in the world are you giving them your information? How many stories have you heard about, well, the government got a hold of 23andMe and got the digital profile and found out that the mitochondrial DNA was able to track us to this person. We tracked down a killer. And it sounds like it's a great thing, tracking down a killer. Good thing, no question. Okay. How they did it? Oh, yeah, that's right. You signed your life away. You signed your rights away when you said, here's the scraping from the inside of my mouth or my spit or my hair or whatever you gave them to do your DNA. You went up in a national database of DNA, okay? Do you think that's going to be used against you? Yup, okay? Do you think your medical records are going to be used against you? Absolutely. And Nebraska is making it mandatory that you give it to them, and then allowing people who have no need whatsoever to access it. Somehow, some way, we need to stop this globalist crap that is going on. I wish I had an answer how to do it. But every time they come up with something, you know as well as I do, they all, oh, well, this will be good because we'll paint the picture. If you're here, you know, the pharmacy doesn't need to call the doctor to confirm that you need a refill or whatever. It's all in the system. The system. Do you see it? You're all becoming part of the system. It's time to get out. Pinball out.